Welcome again, fellow weebs and otakus, to another informative manga video. Now, all this time, I've been giving you guys tips on what manga to collect, how to collect it. I've been dropping tips on starting your manga collection. The one thing that I did miss, that I didn't discuss, is how to display your collection. That's basically what this video is going to be about. I will be discussing different ways you can display your manga, some ways that I prefer more than others, but I'll try and go over every single style you can display your manga. I may not cover every single one, but the most common ones. So with that out of the way, let's get into the nitty gritties and the main beef of the video. With the first point that I'm going to start off with is the most common style that I see that people display their manga. As far as I know, there's no official names for these ways of displaying your manga. So first style I'm going to be going over, I'm going to name the spine display. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. I named it the spine display because it shows the spine of the manga volume. That's the first style, pretty simple. You have your spine display, your manga lined up, neat and tidy, looking fresh. You guys can see that right here behind me. I got my, Uzumaki, freaking Tomie, Junji Ito books. We got all these lined up here. That's my go-to style. Not just that, I do feel it's the most accessible as well, as you can just simply grab the spine with one finger and just take out the manga volume that you want to read and put it right back when you're finished. Now the next method I want to get into, which in my opinion is not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it's still a way to display your manga, which is the stacked display method. Self-explanatory, you just stack your manga. You want to stack it so that you can see the spine, but this time, instead of it being vertical, you're going to see the spine horizontally. So it's going to be a little bit more awkward to read, but hey, you can still see the spine, you can still see what it is, that's what matters the most. The stacked method, honestly, it works, you can make it look appealing. I do want to mention that a lot of people like to use a combination, which is spine method and stacked, so they have the manga volumes vertically and you can read them without any issues, and they also have them stacked. It looks nice, I'm not gonna lie. If you can do it right, using the combination style looks pretty nice. For me personally, I like to keep things more consistent, I guess. I don't like to change up the styles too much. I like to have everything just lined up vertically with all the spines showing. Bruh. You guys can probably already notice I don't like stacking manga like I mentioned, but there's some manga here that I do have stacked because I don't have any choice. I don't really have space anywhere else. Some manga stacked at the bottom as well, so I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I don't have a choice. If you don't have a choice, stack it. The one downside I can say about stacking your manga is that it's going to be a lot more difficult pulling out the volume that you want to read, because you have to take out all the other volumes on top of it first, then take out the volume you need. This is why I do recommend just sticking to more simple, just having all the books lined up vertically. You can read the spine, you can access it, unless there's a reason why you're stacking them, then I can maybe understand, but if it looks nice, I'll give it a pass, Now, another more common way of showing manga on the shelf that I'm seeing is becoming more prominent. I've been seeing it more often, especially on Reddit. This method is a combination of spine and face display. So you have your manga volumes lined up vertically as I prefer it, but you also have them facing towards you, the manga volumes, so you actually can see the front cover, the artwork. I actually kind of like this. It looks aesthetically pleasing. You can see some artwork. You're not just staring at spines and words, all the time. It kind of changes it up, it makes the bookshelf look more fresh. You don't even need to read the spines. You just see the artwork. You're like, oh, hey, there's Dragon Ball Z. There's Bleach. There's One Piece. It's actually pretty cool. It's something I want to try on my bookshelf, but I'm already, pressed on space as it is. I need to make more space on my bookshelf. So the next one is pretty interesting. I actually just found out about it because I was just browsing around different styles or ways people like to display their manga on the shelf, and I dubbed this the library style. Now what people do is they buy manga razors. Now these can be purchased from Etsy, I think probably Amazon as well, and you basically use these to raise the row in the back. So the manga that's in the back will get raised up, and then you'll have a front row and a back row. This actually looks pretty cool. I actually kind of like it. I might do that with my shelf. Kind of debating on just buying a manga raiser and having 2 rows of manga per shelf. Pretty aesthetically pleasing. I do recommend it, you know, if you guys are pressed on space. Like, this will even help you with space. Like, if you can't afford another bookshelf or something, you don't have space for manga, just, you know, throw some few bucks for some manga raisers. Hopefully, you know, they don't cost you too much. Just make them yourself, honestly. It's just like just put like a wooden block there, raise up your manga, you know, whatever you can put there, make it work, you know. All right, let's hop straight into the next style of displaying your manga on the shelf, and I call this style the bookstore style. Why is it called the bookstore style? Well, the reason being is this utilizes plastic display cases pretty much for manga. You can buy these from either Etsy, and I saw it on Amazon as well. I think they're about $20, and you can put these plastic, they're pretty much like holders. They can hold 1 manga volume on them. You can use these to display your manga on the shelf, facing, you know, front facing manga, so you can see the artwork. I think it's pretty cool, you know. Aesthetically looks nice. I do like it, but I think it should be used more sparingly. Plus, you don't really have to buy this plastic thing. You can just, you know, you can just make the manga stand up by itself, especially if you have a hardcover volume. That can stand by itself, you know. You don't need some plastic thing holding your manga, but I'm not gonna lie, you know, if done right, it does actually look nice, you know. It looks very professional. If you want to give it that little professional touch to your bookshelf, you know. So now that I've covered the main styles, those were basically all of them. I do want to go over places where you can, you know, display your box sets. So, you know, like, let's not forget about box sets out here, you know, manga box sets. That's huge, man. Now, the most common way to display your box set is to just put it at the very top. Now, if you guys look at the top there, you can see my Demon Slayer box set. That actually still has a manga inside it. I didn't take the manga out because I don't have space, man. I gotta buy some manga, like manga razors or something. So what I've personally seen that people do, common trend, they have the empty box of the box set and they just put it at the top of the bookshelf, you know, just to display it, the artwork. This is pretty sick because you're not taking up shelf space. You're not taking that space away from the manga. All the shelf space is used by manga, and the box sets just rest at the top just to make, you know, just that icing on top to make that bookcase just look complete. That being said, I do know some people who incorporate box sets on the shelf. That looks nice too, if done correctly. I think it can add more to the shelf space, especially if you have like each shelf dedicated to a certain manga. Let's say you have a shelf that's dedicated to Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z manga, and you just have the box set just resting there showing the Dragon Ball art and then the manga on the side. You know, there's ways to do this, guys, and it looks freaking amazing. It looks beautiful, you know. Now, these are more of the larger box sets that I'm referring to. For smaller box sets, such as the ones I have here, such as Cells at Work, Quintessential Quintuplets. As you guys can see, the way I use that box set, I have the artwork showing off right there. You can see the artwork being shown off, and then to the right of it I have more of the Quintessential, you know, the second box set. So it's very nice sometimes to rotate these box sets so you can see the artwork, and it pops so much on the shelf and it looks nice. So before I close this video off, I do want to mention a few important things that have to do with categorizing your manga. So when I talk about categorizing, I'm referring to grouping certain manga together that have similar aspects to them. So for example, grouping together the same publisher, that's actually a very good idea if you want to have a shelf dedicated to the same publisher. As you guys can see with my shelf, I have Junji Ito volumes. We have Viz Media pretty much all lined up. Near the end though, I do have some Kodansha publications, Parasite, Chobits, and Levius. Now, the reason I have these on the same shelf is because the publication quality is pretty much the same. They're all hardcover, they're all the same size, you know. They share a lot of similarities in the way they're presented. So putting them next to each other on the shelf actually looks freaking amazing. Like, they just, you know, they fit together. Now, another quick little example is on this shelf that I have Yokohama Kadaishi Kiko, which is published by 7 Seas Entertainment. Now, This is a slightly larger volume than the rest of them, so I kind of used this larger volume format to use it as a divider. So it's dividing the Shonen Jump manga volumes from the rest of the 7 Seas Entertainment publications to the right. You know, I think that's very important. If you have omnibus editions or, you know, bigger manga editions, you can kind of use those as dividers to create like subcategories on the shelf. These are definitely some good tips that I want to put out there if you guys want to make it more, not just more like aesthetically pleasing, but easier for you to access, you know, so you know where all these categories are. Like, hey, oh, hey, I have this small category on my bookshelf dedicated to Credential Comics publications. I have Viz Media here. I have this here, you know, Junji Ito, whatever. That's it from me, guys. Thanks again for tuning in for another manga, you know, informative manga video. This was something I had in mind for a while. I hope I did it justice. I didn't want to go over every small organization tip because that would just make this video way longer than it already is. But I do hope you guys took something from this video. That's it from me, guys. This is your host, Rich Taku, and I'll be signing off.